please, this is just going to be 20 minutes for you guys. Okay, 20 minutes where I'm answering all of your questions. I'm going over everything that I wish I would have known and done differently in my business. And we have other leaders on here. So thanks, you know, Samara, Kelly Jo, Tay, Sarah, Mandy, you guys who have already, and Merlane, you guys have already passed, you know, the Ruby, Emerald. Now you're into the Diamond and above ranks. And so if I'm missing anything or anything you guys want to add that you wish, and Lalani too, sorry, I'm missing people, but I see you. I'm trying to see everyone. But we just want to set everybody up for going Ruby. Okay. So first thing, if you guys haven't already, I made these new sheets in our Run with the Pack chat. Okay. So as a leader, you guys should all be in the Run with the Pack chat. And what the Run with the Pack chat is, we're just sharing calls in there, and then any type of things that help you build your business. So, you know, every once in a while there might be a YouTube video that's been helpful, or help me sign customers or distributors, or help somebody else. There might be a script to send, just stuff to help set you guys up for success. Now, as Ruby and above leaders, your whole team may not be in that chat. Maybe you've got some brand new people or some people that never started working. And so your job as a Ruby leader is to make sure that you take the content that's in there, make it your own, and then send it to your team. Okay, so I've got it. I want to just start with this. If you don't have this already, make sure that you save it. You can put it as the background of your screen. You can keep it electronic. If you have a printer, you could print it out. But basically, this is your roadmap to Ruby. And if you've already hit Ruby, I would encourage you to print this out and say, I'm going to hit this by the 15th of the month. Okay, and so then that way you have 15 days to go Emerald, right? And so let me just quickly explain this. Number one, you guys as Ruby leaders, soon to be Ruby leaders or existing Ruby leaders, you want to be commission qualified. So that's running your ADBV auto shipment, which is in your back office. Now, if you don't have money to run your auto shipment, this is where you get to create the money. You get to know that you are in control and that you can create $100 today if you choose to. Okay, so I'm going to use a distributor on my team, for example. I said, hey, we got to get you commission qualified. And she said, I don't have money. I said, I want you to find somebody who wants to try our products and do a one-time order where they can pay you. You can use that money to run your auto shipment, and then you can send them those products. You know, and she messaged me later that night. She's like, I found someone who wants Thermofite X on Friday. And I said, perfect, keep going. Find that next person, because it's got to be ADBV. And so you guys figure out how you're going to run an auto shipment. Are you going to sell a coffee pack so you have cash on hand? Can you pre-sell the items that you're going to order on your auto shipment and say, hey, who wants a pack of wraps and a jar of super greens? You know, that's over at the ADBV. And you can sell it to them for what you paid for it. And you can get your auto shipment ran and paid for, okay? Or get yourself a fast start bonus, or use your paycheck from this month's commissions. But you guys, it is so important that you are leading from the front. If you want to be successful in this business, you got to use products. I was talking to Nicole this morning, and she had done this business before. And she said, you want to know what one of the biggest shifts in the business is for me this time? And she said, because I'm using the products. I'm passionate about it. And so using them is going to help you be successful, okay? I know it's an investment, but we're asking our customers to make this investment as well. So we've got to lead from the front and be willing to do it, okay? In order to go Ruby, you must have 3 distributors. Now, our job as leaders is to sign 3 distributors a month. So you guys who have been in for a while, have you been in 2 months? Have you been in 3 months? Do you have 6 distributors? Do you have 9 distributors? Do you have 12 distributors? You should be signing 3 distributors a month. Now, bare minimum Ruby is 3 distributors on your front line. So if you have those, go ahead and check this off. Okay, then your goals, your step-by-step goals, is we want to get you to the 500 club as quickly as possible. How can you get 500 group volume between you and all the distributors? Can you all run your auto shipments? Can you all sign a customer today? How can you get yourself to 500 club? Once you have that done, check it off. Then your next goal is to go executive. In order to go executive, 2 distributors need to be at 500 BV. So get distributor 1 executive, boom, or 500 club, boom, check. Get distributor 2 or 500 club, check. Now you've gone executive. Then you're going to get distributor 3 at 500, and that totals 1,500 volume right there. 500, 500, 500 is 1,500 volume. So between you and your team, you're bringing in 5,000 more, so you have a total of 2,000 group volume. This is what gets you Ruby. 2,000 group volume, each distributor having at least 400, but we're saying 500 BV. And so here you've got your little thermometer, and I want you guys coloring it in all the way to the top to get to that 2,000. Now, if your goal is to go emerald or diamond, then ruby needs to happen by the 15th of the month, okay, by the 20th of the month. And so if you gave yourself between the 1st and the 30th, you would need to bring in 70 volume a day in order to hit 2,000 group volume, okay? But if you're like, no, I want to hit ruby by the 20th, then you're going to take 2,000 group volume, you're going to divide it by 20, and you need to bring in 100 volume a day. That's one beauty pack a day, right? And that's not even just you, that can be your team doing it too with you. And so figure out how quickly you want to hit it, do the math, and then just start scribbling it in. So I want to know, do you guys know right now, what is your current group volume? Put it in the chat. Anybody look theirs up this morning? Put it in the chat if you know your group volume. Okay, so I did 70 volume times it's the 11th of the month. You should be at 770 volume if your goal is ruby by the end of the month. Now, some of you guys are way above that and you're like, cool, I'm golden. But don't you want more? Didn't you want to be emerald, diamond, right? So you're on track for ruby, but now like, let's push it back, right? So let's get you ruby by the 15th. Let's get you ruby by the 20th. Now, some of you guys are less than 770. And I know that feeling of being like, oh shoot, I'm behind. What do I do? Right? What do? I get out more host posts. What do? I try and rally my team. I try and create some kind of competition. I try and create a new script, a new post, something that gets me excited that I can send down to my teams and get them excited. Okay. Has that ever happened to anybody where maybe like you're just going through the motions and then your upline leader is like, hey, I've got a challenge for you, 72 hours. Here's the goal. If you make that happen, you're going to get this prize or this. Has anybody's leader ever done that for them? A quick boom challenge, right? Can you do that for your teams? Okay, you all are on this call right now because you have distributors underneath you, because you're pushing for ruby. And so how can you rally your troops? Now, let's say you don't have your 3 distributors yet. Okay, your goal is to message people and inviting them to do this business with you and plant that seed. Say, hey, I'm looking for 3 people today who want to make some extra income working on social media. Can I tell you more about what I do? Is that something you'd be open to? And you're just shooting that message to anybody who you know could benefit from friends, from a healthier lifestyle, from having extra money, anything like that, right? And you're just sending that message and planting that seed. You're going to get some people that don't respond. You're going to get some people that tell you no. And then you're going to get quite a few people who do tell you, yes, please tell me more. And we've got scripts in the PAT classroom that can help explain what we do as distributors and how to close them. Okay. So, you guys, ruby is the foundation of our company. It is so important. And I love that there's more than ruby leaders on here, because you guys, if you can build yourself to ruby or build someone in your organization to ruby, you can build to ambassador diamond. And I know that seems like a big jump, but it's literally 2,000 volume helping 3 people, right? Like you're bringing in 2,000 volume between you and then the 4 people in the organization. And anybody can do that. And when I first started, I thought, wow, 2,000 volume is a lot. And it would be my goal to bring in 2,000 volume in the whole entire month, right? And now you guys, we're bringing in 2,000 volume in 12 hours. And now all of a sudden, 2,000 volume isn't scary. 5,000 volume isn't scary. 8,000 volume isn't scary. Now 100,000 volume is a little bit scary. But once we hit it, it's not going to be scary anymore, because we can do hard things as long as we have the tools and resources and we're willing to do the things that it takes. So I'm going to talk just for a few more minutes. I want you guys to take notes. So if you haven't printed this sheet out that I just showed you, get this sheet out, print it out, and start filling in your volume tracker, okay? And you're going to set your goal. I will be ruby by this date. And why does this matter to you? Why is this important to you? And then bring in X amount of BV daily. So if it's not 70 BV because you want to hit ruby sooner in the month, change this to 100, change this to 200, but write it down so that way you're putting it out into the universe, okay? And then send this to your teams and be like, you guys, we are a ruby team. We can do this. And why this is important is because once I show you how to do it, then I'm going to turn around and help you guys do it too. Okay. And so get this printed out. Now I've got a couple of things that I want you to write down as far as what I believe Ruby leaders should be doing. Okay. And if I'm missing anything or anything you guys would add who've been in for a while, think about this. Ruby leaders have 3 distributors underneath them. And I'm saying leaders because they want to be more. Okay. So some of you guys have Ruby people on your team who are boxed for Ruby, but they're not really leaders. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you built them, they don't show up, they don't know what's going on. But the ones who are on this call are Ruby leaders because they're showing up, they want to be better, okay? So Ruby leaders, every single day, complete their KPI sheet. They do not go to bed until their KPI sheet is filled out. Till they got their 10 hosts to post up, till they've sent their messages to potential customers, their messages to potential distributors, they've shared their products, they shared their business, and they did personal development. Okay, Ruby leaders complete their KPI every single day. So if you're committed to being a Ruby leader and completing your KPI, raise your hand. Let me see. You're committed to doing this. You want to make $500 a month? This is what you do. I promise you. Consistency in doing this, you will make $500 a month. Now, it may not be the first month, it may not be the second month, but when you are consistent, you will do this. Okay? Ruby leaders, you guys, are on the power hours. They're on the team calls. Now, why is this important? Because you have to be plugged in. You need to know what's going on so you can let your team know what's going on because they may not be plugged in. I know some of you guys have distributors who give you all the excuses in the world or who don't show up at all. So you got to show up so that way you can tell them what they've missed. And I know sometimes you're just like, gosh, I wish they would work. Well, guess what? You keep working and you'll either attract new ones who will, or they will start. Okay, so you have to show up to calls. And the other benefit to showing up to calls is that you are going to get new scripts. You're going to get new ideas. And you're going to be like, hey, you guys, make this post on your wall. And distributors who weren't working will just make a post on your wall because you told them to. And then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got comments on that post. What do I say back? And you're going to be like, let me tell you. And then you're going to be able to tell them. But if you're not on the calls, you're missing out on new ideas, new scripts, and new ways to bring in customers for yourself and your team. So if you can be committed to being on a call every day as a Ruby or above leader, raise your hand. We have so many calls. I know that. I'm on most of them, okay? But the more you can show up, the quicker you're going to go up, okay? So morning calls, afternoon calls, evening calls, there's calls everywhere. At least pick one, okay? And what's nice about these calls is us as leaders have tried to be on each other's calls. So that way, if I hear something good that Kelly Jo's saying, then I can say it on my call. If I hear something good that Hayden said, then I can say it on my call. And so by showing up to each other's calls, we're actually reinforcing the things that are working and it's duplicating through our teams, okay? The next thing that Ruby leaders do is they stay in connection with their team. Now, every team, every person should be part of their uplines group chat. Okay, so you might have a diamond leader. Maybe you're called the Dream Chasers, or maybe you're called the Diamond Heart Pack, or maybe you're called the Rockstar Group. But everybody has a big team chat with their own team. Okay, and Ruby leaders, you guys, support their uplines. They are active in that group chat. They are leading by example. They're supporting what their upline is doing for them, so that way their team sees an example of what they should be doing. You guys won't believe how many messages I get from people saying, hey, like, how come my upline doesn't boom the chat? Hey, how come my upline isn't on these calls? Hey, how come my upline isn't this, that, or the other? You don't want to be that upline, you guys. You want to be the upline that is leading by example. And your upline has already done the work. Your upline already knows what to do. Your upline is tuning in and plugging in. And so support them and be be in their back pocket. Be their best friend. Be their best supporter. Because then when your team sees you doing that, then that's what they're going to do for you. And that's how we grow. And so as a Ruby leader, you don't need your own group chat. Okay, support and be active in your uplines group chat and be an example in there. And then make sure you're in communication with your downline one-on-one. Hey, did you see this in the group chat? Did you have any questions about it? Hey, here's something that I'm working on that worked, and I'd love for you to do it too so we can get you some customers. You know, and have that one-on-one communication with your 3 to 5 or however many people you have, but keep it one-on-one with them and build that relationship, and then support your upline in the group chats that they have available. Now, if your upline isn't showing up the way that you think that they should be showing up, guess what? Step up. Be that leader in their group chat, and maybe that's going to inspire them. Okay? Not everybody was born to be leaders, but everyone can grow into a leader if they choose to be. And sometimes you'll outgrow your upline. I outgrew mine. They're no longer in the business. And now guess who my upline is? Amber freaking Parker, right? And Ambassador Diamond. Guess who else I get a message? I get to contact Cami anytime I want. Cami Pentecost. Like, I get to do that because I outgrew my upline and chose to keep growing and not hold myself back. And now we've got our whole entire team that has these systems and these organizations that work because we had to create something more because we outgrew what we had. Does that make sense? And you guys can do this too at that Ruby Leader. So KPIs every single day. Be on the power hours every single day. Connect with your downline and support your upline. Be their best friend. Some of you guys think I have favorites, right? You're like, blah, 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 you have favorites. I have favorites because these girls are in my back pocket, because they're running with me, because they contact me every single day. You want to be my favorite? Just send me a message. I talk to Nicole every morning. Nicole calls me every single morning to ask me a question. I love it. Okay? Anyone can be my best friend. If you're running with me, I'm your best friend. Okay? And so be friends with your team. Be best friends with your Ruby leaders, with your rising rock stars. Okay? And then make sure that you're doing KPI calls with the people on your team who will allow you to. Okay? So as a Ruby leader, can you meet one-on-one with the people in your downline and go through your KPI, or go through their KPI with them to hold them accountable? So Wendy, I'm looking at you right now. You know, can you do a one-on-one call with Annie every week and just like, how'd your KPI go? How can we make sure that you're staying consistent with this? You know, Deborah, can you do KPI calls with your 2 Ruby leaders? And then as a Ruby leader, you need to make sure that you're doing a KPI call with your upline to make sure that you're staying accountable. So that way it gives you a model of what your KPI should look like. And so I know that having these 10, 15-minute KPI calls is what's going to change the game for us, because when we do this, we have success. And when we have people holding us accountable, we have success. Okay? So it's 12:20. I know we started just a little bit late, but what questions do you guys have? What are you excited about? What are your takeaways? Let's hear it.
That this is the time in my business that I can take ownership and start to create my own things and have my own team with me.
Thanks, Samara, for the notes.
In the chat, I did put a message to send to potential distributors that it's getting great responses.
Okay, so Ruby leaders, you guys are free to hop off. Just make sure, grab that message that Mandy put. I'll copy and paste it down below so you guys have that. Hey there, I hope you're having a great day. Don't know if you follow me or have any idea what I do, but I'm looking for 3 people today who could use some extra income. So you know anyone who needs some money. Need some extra money. I love it. Okay, so I'm recording this. So if any of your Ruby leaders missed it, they can go back and watch the recording, just the first 20 minutes, and they're golden. Okay, so Ruby leaders, you guys can stay on or you can hop off, doesn't matter, but we're going to shift gears into Emerald. Okay, so, and I want to see faces, you guys, like 20 minutes. Can I have your face if you're not doing anything? That way I can see you when you shake your head, when you raise your hand, all of those things, okay? And I know, Deborah, you got to be careful with your job, so I understand if you got to turn it off. But if you can, please turn them on, okay? So I'm going to share my screen. we're going to get into Emerald. Now, you guys, with this Ruby chart, oh my goodness, where is this Ruby chart? With this Ruby chart, you guys, and you're an Emerald leader, print out two rubies like this for your team and write down their names on this chart and write down why this matters to them and look at it every single day and track their volumes and say, hey, you're at 700 and you need to be at 770 today. So what pack can we create? How can I help you sign 1 or 2 customers to get you over that? So as an Emerald leader, the first thing I would encourage you to do is when you print off your own Emerald chart right here is to print off 2 rubies and track with your rubies. Okay, so here's the Emerald. Make sure, I'm not going to go over this so in depth because we already talked about it on the last call, but make sure that you run your ADBB auto shipment. You need 8 distributors. Distributor 1 is at Ruby, distributor 2 is at Ruby, and distributor 3 is at 500 group volume. You need a total of 5,000. So if you think about it, your Ruby is 2,000, this Ruby is 2,000. If this qualified leg is 500, then that puts you at 4,500 volume. So you're going to need 500 more volume somewhere all around in your organization. Okay. Now you're going to write down, I will be Emerald by, and why this matters. It is so important that you're looking at your why every single day. I posted in the Run with the Pack chat. I did not want to wake up this morning. I woke up naturally at about 5:30 a.m. and I just laid there in bed. I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. And I said, if I keep saying that, what's it going to do to my mindset? What's it going to do to my day? It's going to completely ruin my day if I start my day like that. And so I turned on YouTube and I wrote positive affirmations for success. And I just sat and listened to this YouTube video for 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, all right, I know what I got to do. I got my butt out of bed before 6 a.m. I went to my couch. I did my Dream Life Journal. I did my scripture study. And I started preparing for my day and creating content and getting my host post up and sending my happy birthdays. Because I don't work for how I feel. I work for what I want. And if you are still choosing to work for how you're feeling, then you are not an Emerald leader. Because when you become an Emerald leader, now you carry the burdens and weight of your team. And sometimes they're bad attitudes. And sometimes they're negative mindsets until they're ready to make that shift. And if you as an Emerald or above leader don't get your mind right first thing in the morning, how are you going to serve your team? How are you going to be able to pour into other people? Okay, as a triple soon-to-be presidential diamond means that I get to handle all of you guys' stuff that you come with, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, I get to handle all that. And who am I to not start my day right so I can pour into you and serve you guys the best that I can? Now, I'm a human being. I have bad days. I'm not nice to everybody all the time. I don't get back to people when I know that they can find the answer themselves or whatever it is. I'm not a perfect human being, okay? But what I can do is make sure that I'm doing the best that I can to set myself up for success in the morning so I can help you guys. As an Emerald and above leader, do this, okay? So here's your tracker sheet, okay? You're going all the way up to 5,000. I've basically split it up into 500 increments. And your goal on a daily basis is to bring in 170 volume daily. When you do that, you'll hit over 5,000 in 30 days. Okay? So 170 BD daily. Now that's between you and everybody on your team. So as an Emerald leader, how are you going to make that happen? What scripts are you going to send? What posts are you going to have your team make? What challenges are you going to do? You get to step up and be this leader. Now, in this business, you guys, we have a lot of stuff that goes on with this team. We do. We have a lot of calls. We have a lot of, we've got the Boom Challenge. We've got the Run with the Pack chat. We got the Pack Classroom now. Like, we have all of these things, right? But what can you do for your team? What's going to make them feel extra special? Can you tell them, you guys, like, hey, last month we went Ruby. This month we're going Emerald. We are an Emerald team. And the reason why this is so important to me, because I want you guys to feel how it feels when I went Ruby. And I'm committed and dedicated to showing up every single day so I can help you go Ruby, so I can help you get that feeling. And when you guys take ownership of your team and cast that vision and make it about them, and also like as your team as a whole, it changes the game. And I loved with Cheyenne Knox, it just kind of gave me chills when she was like, why is it so important for Tamika to go presidential? because it proves that you guys can do it. It paves the way that you guys can do it. And you guys know my leadership. You know, as soon as I hit it, the next thing I'm doing is I'm taking that triple and I'm helping her go presidential. I'm taking those doubles and I'm helping them go triple. I'm taking those diamonds, I'm helping them go double. We immediately turn back around and help the next person do what we just did. And that's what makes this so powerful. And if you choose to do that as a leader, you're going to have the strongest team in the world, because it's going to duplicate all the way down. And it's not about what you can get. It's about helping everybody else get what they can get. And I experienced that last month, and it was hard. It felt so good to see everybody else hit their promotion, but I didn't get mine. But you know, I woke up the next morning and I was so grateful. I was so grateful for all the hard work and the unity that we were able to have as a team and the push that we were able to do. And I know eventually I'll get to where I want to go. But you guys, sometimes it's got to be your team first. You will always come next. Always. If you have that mindset and you have that drive and determination. And it was hard. I actually had to call Cami. Cami called me on the phone and I said, like, my faith is shook. You know, like, we worked so hard and we fell so short. How do I do it again? And she just said, you just do it again. I'm like, you're right. I know. But it's hard as a leader. And you just keep going. You come up with new ideas. You come up with new systems. You come up with new challenges. And you keep yourself excited. And then your team stays excited. Okay? So, same thing like I talked about in the Ruby call. You guys, show up how you want your team to show up. So as an Emerald leader, you should not have a group chat. Hear me now, okay? As an Emerald leader, you don't need a group chat. You need to team up with your Diamond leader and their group chat, and you need to be a voice in there. You need to be like, hey, I'm going to post the daily polls today, or the daily tasks. Hey, I'm going to, I had this idea. Can I launch it to the whole team? I'll take care of my people if you'll take care of the others. I remember doing that as a, when I had an upline. I was like, hey, I had this idea. We'll do this challenge. If any of my team wins, I'll give them the prizes. But if anybody on my sideline wins, like, will you give them the prize? And me as a leader, I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, that's fine. I mean, me and Kelly Jo did that for a while when it was just us. You know, she took care of hers, I took care of mine, and we had the one group chat. So as an Emerald leader, you should be teamed up with your upline leader in that group chat and being heard. You should be asking if you can take over the team call that week. Hey, I know we have a team call every Wednesday. I would love to be the host of this and share what I've learned in my personal development, or share what I know is working for me. Or I'd like to get the guest speaker on and co-host the call. That's what you should be doing as an Emerald leader, is really getting in your Diamond's back pocket, being their best friend, and working together. There's power in numbers. And just like I said on the Ruby call, if you lead by example, others are going to follow. If you're just like, oh, like, I got it, I already knew I was supposed to be doing that, and you're not like being an example in the chat, then you're not a leader. I've got a couple of group chats right now where I'm sending daily tasks. And I'm like, hey, once you finish this task, drop this emoji. Once you finish this task, drop the emoji. And you guys, I'm doing it too. I'm never asking somebody else to do what I'm not willing to do. Is it more work for me? Absolutely. But I have to lead by example. And so if your upline is asking you to do something, then do it. Be in their back pocket. Lead by example. That's going to create strength and unity and example in your team. And then more of your teammates are going to come to you and be like, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And they're going to view you as a leader when they see you. Okay, same thing happens on these calls. It's interesting because I don't know everybody who's on these calls. I mean, I could flip back and forth to 2 pages, but do you want to know who I remember on these calls? The ones who write stuff in the chat, the ones who unmute and add value to the calls. Those are leaders. And so you guys who want to be Emerald leaders, how are you adding value to the calls that we're on? How is your team seeing you step up? You know, like, I had an experience happen the other day where, well, I'm not going to go into that, but your team sees you and hears you when you're on the calls. And leaders speak up. Leaders add their 2 cents. And if you don't have 2 cents to add, that's why you're not where you want to be. If you don't have anything to add. Okay, and it's okay if it's been said before, because guess what? You might say it in a different way that somebody else hears it. I'm red-green personality. I'm really direct. You guys don't have to try and read through my lines because there's no gray area. It's black or white. What I'm telling you is exactly what I mean, okay? So if you're reading into anything I'm saying, it's a reflection of you, not me, because I'm telling you just like point-blank facts, about my business and what I've learned. Okay. But some of you guys are different personalities. And so you're reading into all of these things that I'm saying and you're taking it personally, and maybe you're getting offended or maybe you're getting fired up. I don't know. But sometimes when somebody can reiterate what I'm saying in a different way, it helps it click to other people. And if you have a question and you don't ask it, well, somebody else on here had the exact same question, but they were too afraid. And leaders aren't afraid. Just ask. Okay. So, sorry, I know I'm like preaching to a choir right now, but let's talk real quick on things that Emerald should be doing right now. Okay. Emerald should be doing everything that Ruby leaders are doing. You guys, KPI every single day. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you want to make, let's see, and the lowest Emerald check is going to be like $250. The highest Emerald check could be above 1,000. Okay. So like minimum Emerald 250, maximum keep going, right? You got to do more than this, right? You got to, like, this is bare minimum $500 a month, how to be a Ruby. If you want to be Emerald, you got to do more than this. And what does more than this look like? It means, how can you duplicate? How can you help hold your team accountable? So that way you're not necessarily doing more work, but you're duplicating the work that you are doing. You're setting your team up for success and those wins. But sometimes it is more work. If you're not completing your steps to success on a monthly basis, if you're not signing 3 distributors and 6 customers every single month, you're not really working your business. Sorry, but that's the truth. Okay. Like, I've been in 5 years and I've completed my steps to success almost every single month. I don't have a hard time signing distributors and customers every single month. And if I'm not signing them, then I look at myself and I say, am I really doing the work? Am I really getting my 10 host posts up? And I'm really messaging? Am I really putting valuable content out there? And if I'm not signing customers and distributors, the answer is no. I'm not being consistent. My heart really isn't in it. And that's just it, you know, and that's me being real with myself. And so you guys can absolutely sign 6 customers today. You guys absolutely can sign distributors. And I don't know if Kate's on here, but we might have her do a call because she didn't sign a distributor for a really long time. And then something clicked and all of a sudden she's a distributor and customer enrolling queen, you know? And so you can do it. You absolutely can. You just got to look at what work are you actually doing consistently and where's your heart? And it'll all fall into place. What things are you telling yourself? I can't do this. I'm too busy. I blah, blah, blah. Or are you saying I can, I will. Everyone wants what I have. People are messaging me back, ready to sign up, all of the things. So Emerald leaders are doing their KPIs. They're on the power hours. They're charting. They're connecting with their downline and their team. And they're doing one-on-one KPI calls with the ones who they need to in their downline and their upline. Okay, that's Emerald leaders. Then they also are speaking up more on calls and offering to host calls for their team, for their diamond leader. That's what I've got for Emeralds. So anybody have anything to add? And I'll go back through those questions to ask, anything like that.
I would just add that make sure you're unmuting on calls or hosting your own calls. The best thing that I ever did to grow my leadership is I was like, hey, Tamika, you need to do a call on host to post because it's really working for me. And she said, no, Mandy, you need to do a call on host to post because it's really working for you. And I was actually able to help teach Tamika how, because as leaders, we learn from our downline every single day. What works for me may not work for Cassie, but what is working for Cassie, I may not have tried. And so making sure you're sharing what you have.
And, you know, Mandy came to me. I remember that day we were actually talking about it and doing this host post call. And I was like, make your own picture, post it in the Legacy Leaders page and do it. And she did it. And there was only a couple people that hopped on and, you know, it was her first call that she ever did. And I hopped on to support her. And like, you know, when it ended, she was like, oh, okay, I probably should have done some things differently. And there were some good things about it. There were some not so good things about it. But like, that's the only way you grow and learn. And she brought value to people who weren't even on her team. And that filled her cup and that helped set her up for success. And so it's not doing a call every week. It's, hey, this is really working as an Emerald leader. Like, hey, this is really working. And I want to share this with other people. And you post it in the Legacy Leaders page, you invite your sidelines and it grows you as a person, a leader. It's really, really cool. So if you listen to a book that you love and you kind of want to do like a book recap, that's a great place to start. Okay. If you're doing host to post or you figured out how to make text replacement or how to make cool pictures or stories, you guys can do calls on those things and give value to other people. And like Mandy said, just start unmuting on calls. Let people hear and see your name. There are people on here that have joined in the last like 3 months, and there are people on here that have been in for years, and they're like, oh my gosh, who is this girl? How long has she been in? And I'm like, she's brand new, but she's rocking and rolling and not afraid of anything, and just working her business, not hiding. And those are who people see as leaders.
And to add to that, like, not just on Tamika's calls, all calls you get on. Like the first calls that I ever talked on was not because I unmuted. It's because Amber knew I was signing 20+ customers when I did host to post, and she wanted me to show her how. And so she's like, hey, Mandy, you're going to talk whether you like it or not. And I did. And I started bringing value, like finding what I had was valuable, because I didn't think anything I did was valuable. And I bring a whole different set of skills to the table than what Tamika brings. And so being able to play on those.
Yeah. And I love that. So any call that you guys are on, it doesn't have to be mine. Any call that you guys are on, bring value to that call. Okay. Whatever that looks like. And if you're too afraid to unmute or right away, then post it in the comments. Let people hear your name spoken by somebody else. It makes you feel really, really awesome when that happens. Okay. And thank you, Samara, for the notes, track downlines, visual trackers, your team first, then you add value. And you guys, you have to be leading by example. I had a girl message me today and she's like, how come my upline never booms? And I said, I'm not answering that question, but people see you. People see what you do, and people see what you don't do. And if you're not booming, you're not really working.
I think another thing that Emerald leaders can do is take scripts and Tamika kind of touched on this, but like take scripts that you get and turn them in, and like turn them in. You know your team better than I do, right? Like because you should be working with them every day. So like what is going to work for them, and help them through switching those scripts up to work for them. So maybe you do get a script for me on the Power Hour, and you switch it up just a little bit for your team to set them up for success. And another thing that you can do, and this is super simple where you don't have to unmute or do a bunch of crazy stuff, you start making story slides. Like start diving into a photo editing app and making some cute story slides. Cause I remember like, that's when people were like, oh, you just made a cute story slide. And it made me feel so good. And it brought that little bit of value where like, I wasn't afraid of unmuting, but I think that is a good thing to think about, that like, you can kind of do it from behind the scenes too and get good at that. And your first few are going to be a hot mess, and it's okay. And then you're just going to get better and better. But what little things can you do to bring value to set your team apart and help set them up for success?
Great. I love it. Anybody else? Nicole wrote, live videos, become vulnerable. Yes. Lots of people are like, well, if I join your team, do I have to go live? And we say, no, you don't have to do anything, but be seen, give value to your market. And, that's how I'm signing a lot of my customers right now, is just going live and sharing what I'm doing, how I'm doing, what it feels like for me, all of those things.
May I just, will someone please do a Zoom call and teach a little bit about how to do better lives? Because I'm really awkward on camera. Like really, I've had people tell me, you're really, really awkward on camera. And so I see people get a lot of traction from lives, but I'm terrified because I'm just so awkward. I'm just so awkward. So I would love to do lives, but I would love to be kind of walked through how to be a better camera personality.
I love that. Thank you for asking. Go ahead, Betty.
So my advice to you is just be yourself. Like you messaged me the other day and told me how cute I was on live story. Tamika's like, you need to go live. And I was like, I don't do that. I was one of those people like, I don't go live. And my first, 100 lives were a hot mess. And they still are. Like, if we're being honest, they're still a hot mess. But that's who I am. And I quit trying to be Ashley Mayfield. I quit trying to be Amber Parker making my lives, and I just started being me. And in my lives, it's what can I do to bring my audience value?
And Asia, there are things that will help you get more engagements and stuff on your lives for sure. And there are things that you can do to help. And I think a training on that would be really good for everyone though. So I'm glad that you asked.
Can I touch on that really quick?
Yeah, but we well, since we're going to do a live thing later, let's let's maybe just write it in the chat because we only got 20 minutes left. So if you have live tips, will you guys just drop them in the chat? But I agree with what Mandy said. You really just are going to find your own way and you'll get better, and it'll be awkward. Like even for me, my last 2 videos, I literally read the product info sheets and couldn't say the word metabolic. And so, and I couldn't do the math either. Like I totally did the math wrong and it was embarrassing because I'm a math teacher. Like number one is don't stress about it. And then there are certain things that you can do to get better engagement, which we can definitely go over. So go ahead and read through the chat and then that'll be good. Okay. So, Emerald Leaders, Nicole, did you want to say something? Okay.
No, I was just going to say something about live, but I'll just, yeah, that's it.
And you guys who are writing stuff about lives, maybe shoot me over a message, Nicole, too, and just be like, hey, I have some live tips. And then when we do the training on it, then I'll make sure that like everybody who has live tips, like we can just, like everyone can have a turn. And that's a good platform, you know, for people to start their first call, you know, and bringing value to people. I'd love that. So if you guys want to be part of that Zoom call, then shoot me over a message and we'll do that. Okay. All right. So last thing, you guys, Emerald Leaders, if you want to stay on, you can stay on. We're going to go ahead and shift into a Diamond Leader. Now, Mandy asked, she's like, well, why aren't you doing double and triple? And I said, because if you haven't figured it out by double, then I don't know what to tell you. But here's what happens, you guys, when you go diamond. And I hope you guys are hearing me. And I love that some of you guys are staying on. When you go diamond, it's not figured out. If anything, it is less figured out than it was when you were at Ruby or Emerald. It's just kind of like a hot mess when you go diamond and you're looking at your team and you're like, I don't have the team that I need. I don't have the systems that I need. I don't have this, that, and the other. And everybody feels that way when they hit diamond. I see some of you guys who just hit it, being like, yep.
Very overwhelming. I mean, I asked Tamika personally yesterday, I said, can I ask a question? I said, when you first go diamond, I said the next month, I said, is it always this overwhelming? And she said, yes.
And I got another message from a diamond leader and they're like, is this really worth it? This is like I am having, and it goes back to all of the emotions from everyone on your team. And if you personally are not good at your KPI every single day, if you personally are not doing your steps to success, if you're personally not having a system where you're showing up to calls and you're staying plugged in, then when you hit diamond, it's like, what in the world? Like, and you have to kind of refigure it out and gain your footing before you're ready for the next one. And some people, to regain their footing is a couple of days. Other people, it's a couple of months. And some people have to lose diamond and rebuild it again, just so that way they find their leadership path. And Mandy, if you want to unmute in a few minutes, that would be fine if you want to share this, because and I don't know, Otay had to hop off, but you know, there are a couple people who had to rebuild their diamonds and refine that leadership and that groove that works for them. So same thing, let me share my screen. If I was going for diamond, I would have a Ruby chart printed out. I would have 3 Ruby charts printed, and I would have my Emerald charts printed. So I'd have the 2 rubies that are underneath that Emerald, and I would have the 3rd leg ruby that I needed, and then I would also have the Emerald, and I would write their names down, and I would write down why this matters to them. And I would put it on my wall that I looked at every single day, and I would look at it, and I would track their volumes with them, and I would help set them up for success. So in order to hit diamond, okay, whose goal is diamond? If your goal is diamond this month, drop a 1 in the comments, okay? If your goal is diamond, you need 8,000 volume divided by 30 days is 266.6 repeating, okay? So I just rounded it to 267 volume a day. So 270, whatever number I said, ignore. So 270 times it's the 11th of the month, you should be at 2,970 volume. Okay, right now you should be at 2,970 volume to be on track for diamond, getting your bare minimum every single day. Now, some of you guys are there, some of you guys are less. And it's no matter to try and like get yourself freaked out or saying, I can't do this, because miracles happen when you stay consistent. But have you been rallying your troops? Have you been setting your team up for success for bringing in X amount of volume each day? Are you giving them scripts? Are you giving them challenges? Are you doing your KPI calls? All of the little things that are going to get you where you want to go. Okay. And number one, are you getting results? And it goes back to, if you're not booming the post, your team sees that. Okay, are you getting your enrollments? And I start the month every month. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going to find people from. I don't even know, but it's going to happen. And, you know, I signed 4 distributors this month because of my follow-up sheet and following up with people and making good quality posts that people are either coming to me, or when I do the follow-up, they're ready to sign up. And then all of my customers so far this month have either come from referrals, which means that I'm taking care of my customers. They're sending me people who they know the products work and they know I'm going to take good care of them, and host to post. Okay. And even being in Facebook jail and all of that, I'm still getting host to post up and I'm still signing customers. And so number one, are you getting results? And then are you duplicating it down to your team? And do you have a system to track all of your team? And so as a diamond leader and soon to be diamond leader for some of you guys, what I really want you guys to get out of this call is creating your system, creating what you do for your team. Like Sarah said, she's like, I can find my own leadership. I can lead my own team. And so I need you guys as rising diamond leaders, don't wait till you go diamond to figure this out. But what do you do for your team? If you are a diamond leader or you're the top person in your line, you should have a group chat with everybody in your organization. Now, when I see Lalani and I see Kate and I see Tay, you guys have 3 diamonds deep, right? And so how can you guys support each other to bring more value? Now, sometimes it is beneficial to keep your team together, but other times it is beneficial to all be together, because like I said, if you as the downline person can support your upline and act as a united front, that is leading by example. That's showing your team how you can be a leader of leaders, a leader inside of another leader's organization. And you guys do a great job with this in the Run with the Pack chat. You know, like, yes, I'm the top line person, but I feel like equals with all of you guys because you have your own personalities, you have your own twist, you have your own value. And so it's not that it's my chat, it's that it's our chat and we can all bring value and support each other. There's nothing that makes me happier when I make a post in there and you guys will press and hold and push the heart. Like press and hold and push the thumbs up. It shows that you're with me. It shows me that you've seen it. And guess what? If more of you guys do that, your team is going to start doing it. Your team is going to start showing up. They're going to show up as much as you do. I have soon to be diamond leaders who are like, I message my team and they don't message me back. Well, guess what? Your upline says the same thing about you. Your upline has tried to reach out to you. Your upline has tried to help you and you've left them on red. Okay. And there's some of you guys on this call. I'm talking to you. You left your upline on red, just like your downline left you on red. Okay. Let's respect our uplines. Let's respect our downlines and let's respond to each other because we know that we're all there to help each other. And if you don't have a relationship with your upline yet, I really encourage you guys to get one. And I'm not one for small talk. You guys know that. I'm usually just down to business, but like, I do want to get to know you guys better. And it's not something I'm good at, but you know, like message me, talk to me if you want to be my friend, you know, and do the same thing with your upline. I messaged a girl yesterday or the day before that. And I said, cause she just didn't feel like she could connect to me. And I said, that's perfectly fine. Because I know that I'm scary to some people, but let's get you in contact with a sideline sister, you know, somebody who you can relate with. And I said, but wait a minute, I placed you in your organization because your 2 upline leaders are really yellow. And I knew you were yellow, which is why I placed you in their organization. I said, do you talk to them? Are you friends with them? And she's like, no. So why don't you just be friends with your upline? Message them, send them a Marco Polo, like get to know them so that way you feel comfortable working with them. And so you guys who are rising emerald, rising diamond, rising rubies, wherever you guys are, I want you to think about your relationships with your team. Like think about your upline. Do you have a relationship with them that's good? And you know, for me and most of you guys, my relationship is mostly work because I don't even chit chat my husband. I mean, you can ask him. So don't get like offended. I don't even chit chat my own mother. So like, it's just who I am. And so if I were to chit chat you, then you would be extra super special. So just keep that in mind. But, you guys, like, are you friends with your upline? You know, how can you support each other? How can you make your team stronger? And I don't encourage you to create your own thing. I encourage you guys to work with your team that you have and lead by example and be the kind of person you want to be. So that way your team will follow your lead. Your team will see you interacting on the post by thumbs upping or hearting. Your team will see you showing up to calls and tagging each other in it. Like, let's get back to that. Let's get back to where, you know, we take a team picture and we're tagging everybody in it and say, I love that my team is showing up. Let's get back to where we post on our team's wall and say, thanks for showing up. Good job on your customer. Like, when's the last time we did that, Kelly Jo? Like, where we posted on the wall, like, so proud of you, way to sign a customer on their own personal wall, you know? How can we just reward the behavior that we want in the sense of showing up to calls, getting results, and doing those things? So the other things I have written for diamonds is you guys are doing the same thing, okay? You're doing your KPI sheet. You're on the power hours. You're charting. You're in daily connection with your team. You're doing the one-on-one KPI calls with your downline and your upline. And, you know, you may not need to do a KPI call with me. I don't need to do a KPI call with Amber, but it is nice to do a check-in every once in a while with your upline. And if you need that weekly call with me, or, you know, if you've got your own double or triple diamond leader, then set it up. Okay. Any leader I know would be happy to do that with you. And so, speaking up on calls, if you're shooting for diamond and I don't hear you, then we're not going to see you when you hit it. Okay. So you got to be heard before you're seen. And then hosting your own calls. Like, can you host your own call with your downline if you're that top leader, or can you work with your top leader and like really be side by side and host a call once a month, you know, for your team where you're providing value? And then the other thing too is making sure that you're tracking your enrollments on the Leader of Leaders call. And not everybody even knows what this is, and it's a really big deal. Like if you've been on a Leader of Leaders call and it's changed you in some way, shape, or form, will you drop a 2 in the comments or just hold up 2 fingers? Like getting Cheyenne Knox, getting Ashley Mayfield, getting you know, our other leaders, they pour into us in a different way. And it's really important that we're getting our teams on these calls and that they're actually earning it. Because it's called the Leader of Leaders call, because we want leaders on there who earn it, not just because we built them to Ruby and then they earned it that way, but like, how can we really be leaders of leaders? And we need to be tracking that, so that way people are, number one, seeing what it takes and working towards it. If you write a distributor's name, so Mandy sent me her sheet things. Let me pull it up real quick. And this isn't fancy. This is literally just a Google document with some lines.
It's about how fancy I am.
So Mandy wrote this with her 25 distributors, and every month she's just tracking customers and distributors. And it's her goal to get her team on this call. And by doing so, how much is that going to grow her business? How much is that going to create more leaders? But if you're not tracking it, and if you're not like, hey, you only need 3 more to earn this call. Hey, like, I'm super proud of you. Like, you're 1 out of 10 on your way there. It's going to make them be excited and invested in something and working towards something, because maybe shooting for Ruby or Emerald or Diamond is just too much. But if they can shoot for 10 enrollments, done. Okay. And so to get on the Leader of Leaders call, it's 10 enrollments, customers or distributors. It's completing your steps to success or having a rank up. Okay. And so those are the ways that you're earning this call. And so you guys, like I said, when you go diamond, it's still a hot mess. It's not going to be figured out. And your job as a leader is to number 1, show up as the leader you want to have on your team. And then number 2 is to start creating systems that are going to duplicate and set your team up for success. Those are the 2 biggest things I would say as far as going diamond goes. Anybody want to add anything or any questions?
So I have 2 things to add. One was when she was talking about hosting your own calls. Something else that grew my business is when Kelly Jo asked me to be a guest speaker on her team call, because then other people see me as valuable. And so can you ask other sidelines to show up because they are doing something that you want to do? Can you bring value to other people? Because that was like one of the biggest growing moments. Is she's like, can you do a team call for my team? And I was like, sure I can. And like now, that is one of my favorite things to do, is to pour into other people. I mean, I run a call every single morning where all I do is pour into other people, and 90% of the time it's not even my team. And then I was going to touch on like falling apart so you can rebuild and finding your own leadership. Like I tried so hard when I started this business to be Amber and Ashley and Tamika, and I'm not any of them. Like, I'm so different that I had to find who I was. And so if you're struggling in finding your leadership, then you have to figure out who you are outside of a mom, who you as a person are and what makes you you. And when I did that, then I could show up in my own strengths, and I have a team that follows me. I have a team that has a relationship with me, because my first team, while a couple of them have come back, like, I was a sucky leader.
That's all part of leadership, realizing that you that you need to work on some things. So I want to hear from Katie, because I can see your cute face. Hayden, Carrie Ann, Deborah, Nicole, Christina, Shelby, Merlane, Wendy, Samara. Like, who wants to unmute? Like, I don't get to hear from you guys very much. Cassie, like, who's stepping up?
I just wanted to tell the girls that buying our products helps your sales. It's helping me because people don't, I was speaking to a friend of mine when I first started doing this again, and he's just like, I'm just going to give you, a bit of information that people are going to be more willing to buy from you when they see that you really spend your own money and you continue to do it. So, I don't know. That's really what I would say. And then like, just get creative with your lives. For me, can I just say, so like, I watch Tamika's lives, and she has a beautiful house, and I'm like, shit, I'm like, I can't put my camera this way or this way. I don't want my walls to be shown or whatever. So I found like a spot that I put my camera on my stove, and I can block out any ugliness, but make sure you're comfortable in no, that's just where I'm starting out. But soon I'm going to be able to be like, have a house where I can do it wherever, but just I would say, make sure you're comfortable on your lives, because it makes a big difference when you're comfortable of what you have going on. And so and then like today I did something on our hair, our skincare, and I like grab my big box of Sephora makeup, because I no longer wear makeup. I use my skincare line, and I'm serious about that. And so like, I just did something where I like took all my makeup out, and then like, and I've already had a lot of traffic on it and people asking me about it. So just be creative, I guess.
I like that.
So I want to speak on that with Nicole. So going live last night, you guys can see that I'm under construction. I've been under construction, but you have to have money. And it was hard doing live last night. It was fun. I had fun, but my anxiety got to me so much, I almost had to run off camera. So, I mean, I think I need to start doing more of those and participating, because I had a person who had doubts, has put doubts in my mind, and she ended up getting some wraps from me. She wanted to try one. So I gave her one of my wraps for $20, and she's going to place an order next week.
Was that from being on the call last night?
Yeah, so I told you that I barely made it through it. Like, I know it sounds silly to people that don't have, my anxiety's bad. Like, I can do this face to face, but being live and being in big groups, it kills me. But I think, like, if I do it more, it's just like anything. You do it more, it's like riding a bike. I'll get better at it. And look what happened. I'm going to get a sale next week because I've worked for her payday. But, I don't like that. This is my dwelling that y'all got to see, but this is my life. This is who I am. We're in construction, we're building, we're going through just life in general. So that's what I speak on, and just keep moving. I mean, I try and motivate my girls every day. I talk to them every day. Somehow I message them, we talk, Facebook chat every day. And that's even during, like right now, I'm with my full-time job. I do what I can when I can. If I got to squeeze it in the restroom, I squeeze it in the restroom. Like, I make time, or at least I think I do. And maybe I need to step up and make more time. But I'm starting with what I've got right now.
Yep. And then the one thing I'd say about that is we just got to be careful about management mode versus like doing what we need to do. And we can get so caught up in the charting. We can get so caught up in the communicating with our teams that all of a sudden, we're spending all this time building relationships that we didn't do what it took to sign customers. I'm not saying that's you, Deborah, because you're booming that chat like it's your job, because it is your job. But like you got to lead by example so your team respects you, and then you keep that relationship going. Okay, just a couple more, and then we'll hop off.
I'll share.
And
so
then Hayden,
for
you
me,
can go next.
I feel like one thing that I've really had to learn as a leader is that not everybody has the same motivation as I do. And so like I've had to learn to stop feeling so discouraged when one of my distributors quit, or they say that they're like one of my newest distributors that I signed on the 1st actually told me last night that she can't do this, and that she just wants to buy the products now. So at first I found myself really discouraged because I realized most of my team, except for maybe 2 or 3 of them, aren't working. And then I had to stop and I was like, okay, is that because of their motivation, or is it because I'm not showing up for them in the way that they need? And so I actually have been working really closely with my upline and asked her, like, what can I do to keep them motivated? And like, what's the best way to learn their love language? And she had actually suggested a book that she read for her kids that had even said, when you don't know their love language, give them all of them and see which one they, react the best to.
And here's what I'll say about that, Carrie, is it's not motivating your team. It's just doing the work. If you start growing them, if you start growing underneath them, if you start moving your customers under them, then they're going to be like, oh, hey, okay. But it's like when you're dragging them, you're telling them what to post, you're telling them what to message, they don't want to do the work. So as a leader, step up, do the work, grow them, and either the people underneath them are going to pass them, or they're going to get to work because they see you having success. But when we sit here and try and, there's nothing wrong with the relationships. Maybe this is the red in me coming out, okay? But when we sit here and try and be their best friend, when ultimately this is a business, like, work your business, get your customers, get your distributors, keep building them. They'll get passed, or they're going to start working. I can't sit here and keep messaging you and telling you what to do and how to do it and where to do it and all these things when you don't really want to do it. But what I can do is get enrollments. What I can do is build underneath you. What I can do is keep pushing for my promotions and quit waiting for people to start working or feel motivated or inspired. So one thing I would suggest, because I know you're not alone in this, build yourself, get yourself there. Who was that call that we had that built, Cheyenne built it all herself, all the way to Double Diamond, every customer, every distributor, okay, made it happen. And now guess what? Now she's got a booming, awesome, bomb rocking team, right? Because she just did the work.
She's not even like 25. She's
Yes.
like 22. She
Right.
did all of that while she was in high school and young.
Amen. Okay, Hayden, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, so I do apologize because I missed the original question. I was putting Finley down for a nap, but I think I got the gist of it. So I just have to share what has just popped into reality for me today. You guys, if you're close with your upline, please make sure you're taking their advice. I reached out to Kelly Jo just a little while ago when we had our KPI call, and I said, Kelly, my Facebook algorithms are just so stinky right now. I was like, I am not getting as much interaction as I usually do. Please help me. She's like, well, I've noticed this on your profile. I mean, I haven't been completely on it lately, but I've noticed that you haven't been doing a certain amount of this or a certain amount of that. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So I took her advice. I've been posting more selfies and just full on taking advice from her. And you guys, my Facebook algorithms are back. And so sometimes somebody else, believe it or not, knows you better than you, which is hard to believe, but they do, because they're the ones that watch your page and watch what you're getting the most interaction on. Second of all, find a sideline sister that you get along with really, really well. I get along super well with Kate, and she gave me this idea for a post, and I was like, I'm not going to post about that because nobody in my newsfeed wants to see that. But that's the outlook I had on it. Now, you guys, I've signed 2 customers from it today, and it's blowing up. I never thought that this post would get an interaction, but sometimes it just takes another person to step back and be like, hey, I noticed you haven't done this or this, and just find those people that you get along with and can share ideas with, because just because they're not specifically in your downline doesn't mean that you guys can't help each other out too. That's my piece.
Yeah. And how do you find sideline sisters, you guys? You get on calls. Get on Amber's Monday meetup. Get on her Emeralds and Above on Wednesdays. Find, if we ever post calls, I sometimes get invited to some other leaders' calls in my Push to Press group, because we've got a group of all of us that are triple diamonds and above pushing for more. And sometimes they open up their team calls, right? And you just have to be careful getting on other people's calls, you know, like protect yourself, protect your mind, but also be open to new ideas and stuff like that, and new relationships. But yeah, like show up to calls, find yourself some sidelines, be willing to reach out, ask for help, and try something that's maybe way outside your comfort zone that doesn't sound like you, and you might be surprised by what it gets you. So I'm sorry we went over a little bit. I like what Sarah wrote in the chat. Motivation is an inside job. Amen to that. Yeah. So, I mean, you figure out where you need to go. Where are you at for volume wise right now? Where are you at for distributor wise? You can make anything happen. You really, really can. When you know where to go, it will all fall into place. So I just really encourage you guys to do that. Get relationships with your team, your upline, your downline, your sidelines, and do the work. Do the work every single day that's necessary to take you where you want to go. So see you guys.